One day, I was browsing around and I came upon phenomenal memory. And I started reading about it, and I was like, there's just no way that there is this program that can allow you to memorize books. That's impossible. I mean, I do realize, and back then I realized that the brain is a powerful tool that can be expanded. There's just so much capacity so much uh, things that one can do with the brain if we could use it to its full capacity. But to that extent, I was a little skeptical. I was astounded as to how great the memorization techniques worked for me.
Now that I have finished a course, I can say, outright it is extremely powerful. I'm able to memorize entire books, numbers, names, dates, places. Of course, books being the most important thing to me. I can memorize anything. To be pretty blunt about it, you just pick and choose whatever you want, and you store it in your brain for life, forever. It's always going to be there. I can unequivocally say that it's definitely true. I chose to memorize this book here, The Effortless Sleep Method by Sasha Stevens.
Before I get into all of the P memory stuff that you want to know, like the fact that I can now memorize anything and whole books, is that why I joined the School of Phenomenal Memory in the first place. If you're like me, you're one of those people who acquires information pretty quickly. It's fairly easy, but it might not stay all there completely, just naturally without it, and that's how I was before the program. I could pick up information and didn't have to study much, and it would stay in there for the test, and then I'd lose it. And that got to be very counterproductive when I ended up taking a physics class. Not only did I not need it, but it was also the harder level, and it was that point that I realized, uh-oh, I can't use this anymore. I need to actually learn how to study. I had to end up dropping the class, and that was a huge embarrassment. After that, now, I know that that will never happen again because I can memorize my entire textbooks if I need to. Being in the English major, I will tell you, I don't need to do verbatim memorization most of the time. Now, that isn't to say that I couldn't rev that up and memorize that physics textbook now, because I absolutely can. Which is awesome to say now that I'm like saying that out loud and realizing that, because it's so cool. And the thing is, it's not that hard. Yes, it's hard if you're doing it now and you don't understand the techniques on how to do it, but you go through the course and you learn how to do it, and each lesson is tailored to what kind of information you're trying to learn, and you have to go through all of it, and then you realize you can memorize anything. And now, as my first book, I memorized Emotional Freedom by Judith Orloff. Once you read the book, the actual memorization process does not take that long. It's just a matter of putting it into your brain, basically. And I can't tell you how you specifically do that. You're just gonna have to take the course and find out if you really want to. I personally haven't used any other memorization system, so I can't really speak for that, but I would definitely believe that this is the best thing out there, because I can't think that there's something better than memorizing whole books and all that. Anyways, so when I memorize anything now, especially books, let's just say books for now. Once you have that information, you can access it without having to go through and go, oh, page 1, and go through and try and find it in there. As soon as someone asks you a question about it, you can just recall that information and have a conversation about it, because it's in the recall that you actually know the information. So some of you might be worried that if you're learning it, can you actually talk about the information? Like, memorization isn't everything, but the way that this works, you are learning the material as you're memorizing it, and your comprehension absolutely skyrockets.
I'm a mechanical engineer here in the Los Angeles area, and I use phenomenal memory on the job. It's one of the reasons why I purchased the course in the first place. I was able to memorize charts and graphs and tables and figures and numbers and formulas and processes and procedures. I memorized our entire product line. Every nut and bolt I was able to take apart and put it back together again. Part numbers. I even took the time to memorize the entire phone directory of our company. You know, this got the attention of a lot of people, and they were like, wow, this guy's pretty smart. This guy's pretty sharp. You know, I owe a lot of that. I owe a lot of that to the phenomenal memory. I was able to move into a management position because people perceive me as some kind of a genius or something like this. And we're talking about 60 days being able to memorize entire books, guys. I mean, this is crazy. P memory is not like any other course. It's not full of gimmicks or tricks to memorize lists of things that you don't have any need for just to say that you memorize the list. But it's about transforming the mind. It's about a total transformation. I got a whole list of books I'm going to memorize: The Art of War, the Bible. I mean, poems. I mean, you name it. I'm gonna be doing it. I'm going to take on Spanish and French and German. I'm going to take on Japanese and Chinese, and I might even go back to school to get my linguistics degree, like I've always wanted to. Computer programming. I want to learn C#. I mean, there's so many things I want to do, but very little time. And with a phenomenal memory, I think I'll have the time.
Yesterday, I memorized my first book, and I'm extremely excited and extremely happy. You won't even believe how good I feel about that. So the book I memorized is called Get More Likes. It's a Kindle ebook, which I read on my iPad. I know this whole book. I memorized all of it. I know every chapter. I know all the content of the chapter. I know all the precise information, like the statistics and numbers and other stuff that is quite hard to remember usually. And I have no problems retelling it in perfect sequence, chapter by chapter by chapter. It's all there. In fact, I know it so well. If someone asked me how to do a Facebook page now, what to post, I could easily tell them. I'm so confident about this material that I've learned, I could teach it. And in fact, I did today. Today I met my business partner. We started a digital publishing company together, and also our editor. So I decided to teach them what I've learned yesterday. All I did was, over about 45 to 60 minutes, I just emptied all of my mind content that I memorized. Everything I memorized, I just went through chapter by chapter and just retold it to them. And they were sitting there hanging on each of my words. I literally poured it out. I didn't have any awkward pauses. I didn't have to think about it. All I had to do is just browse through the images in my mind and just tell what they mean. And they were both sitting there taking notes. Our editor took literally 3.5 pages of notes of the stuff that I just had in my mind. It was quite amazing. I literally went from not knowing material to being able to teach it in one day, in one evening, in one memorization session. So as you can see, the amount of information you can memorize and how well you can memorize and use it afterwards is amazing. It's not just some passive knowledge that you might or might not have. It's actually knowledge that you memorize that you can use and apply immediately in the real world. And I think that is very, very valuable. It is absolutely incredible, and I know how to memorize any kind of data.
Before I began the Phenomenal Memory course, I really didn't believe that ordinary people could memorize books. I thought that skill was reserved to savants. But after completing the course, I've used Phenomenal Memory extensively in my academic career. Most notably, I used Phenomenal Memory to help me tackle organic chemistry last year. So, organic chemistry in the United States is known to be a very, very hard class. So what I did was, 2 weeks before my organic chemistry class started, I sat down and memorized the first 4 chapters from my organic chemistry textbook. This gave me an invaluable head start to my peers. So pretty much during my first few lectures, the teacher was reviewing material that I already knew while my peers were still learning this material. In addition, I've used phenomenal memory to memorize complex organic chemistry concepts, such as the names of reactions and the mechanisms behind these chemical reactions. Because I've been able to quickly memorize these reactions, I was able to hold them in my mind and practice them at will to gain a deeper understanding of these reactions. In fact, this paid off so well that I was actually awarded an award for being the best organic chemistry student of the year. So, what have I done with phenomenal memory recently? Well, this summer I've been studying for the MCATs, which is a medical entrance test in the United States. This baby is my review book. So far, I've used phenomenal memory to memorize the first 14 chapters of this book, which is a broad overview of biology, ranging from cellular biology to embryology to human anatomy and finishing with evolution.